The opening section invites the listener to tune into the calming presence of water, setting the tone for the journey ahead. Water, in all its forms, oceans, rivers, rain, and lakes, serves as the silent observer of Earth's history. It has seen the rise and fall of continents, the formation of life, and the slow, inevitable march of time. The question posed is simple yet profound. Does water hold the memory of all that has transpired? This is not just a question of science, but of wonder and mystery. For as long as humanity has existed, water has been a constant companion, both life-giving and enigmatic. From ancient myths that personify rivers as gods to the scientific understanding of water as the cradle of life itself, there is an undeniable connection between us and the fluid element that binds all life. But does it remember? Does it carry within its currents the stories of those who came before us, the ancient civilizations, the lost languages, the forgotten dreams of the earth? Water's role as the carrier of memory is explored through its metaphorical and physical presence. It flows through the veins of the planet, shaping the land and the creatures that live upon it. Water is not only a medium for life, but perhaps for memory as well. Like a vast archive, it has witnessed billions of years of Earth's changes, silently absorbing everything it encounters. The idea of water as a recorder of history invites the listener to pause, to reflect, and to listen. Listen to the soft rhythm of waves lapping against the shore, the steady flow of a river, the distant sound of rainfall. This section also explores the mystery that surrounds water, inviting philosophical musings about its ability to absorb and reflect. Why does water have such a calming, almost hypnotic, effect on us? Is it simply its physical properties, its flow, its transparency, its constant change? Or is there something deeper, something ancient in its essence? Perhaps it holds more than just chemical elements. Perhaps it holds stories. The listener is invited into a contemplative state. The sound of water is a metaphor for the flow of time. Just as water flows endlessly across the globe, so does the passage of time. Ceaseless, ungraspable, yet ever-present. What are the traces of history that it carries? What are the moments suspended in water, waiting to be revealed? The section closes with the soft ripple of water, drawing the listener deeper into the mystery of the ocean's memory. Water is not merely a backdrop for life. It is its very origin. This section reflects on the primordial waters where life first sparked, drawing from scientific insights and ancient stories alike. It explores the idea that the first drop of water was the first moment of life's creation. It takes the listener on a journey back in time to the ancient oceans, where the building blocks of life, simple molecules, began their dance in the depths of the water. Here, water was more than a passive element. It was the crucible in which life's complexity began to unfold. The concept of abiogenesis, the idea that life arose from non-living matter, is presented as a scientific foundation for understanding water's role in the emergence of life. In the primordial soup, water served as both the solvent and the medium through which molecules collided, interacted, and began the slow process of self-replication. Water's unique properties, its ability to dissolve a wide variety of substances, its thermal stability, and its ability to form hydrogen bonds, made it the perfect environment for life to emerge. Yet beyond the scientific understanding, there is an ancient, almost mystical, idea that water holds the very essence of life. Ancient cultures have long revered water as sacred, believing that it is the source of creation itself. Water is seen as a goddess, a spirit, a divine force that nourishes all living things. From the rivers of Egypt to the seas of the Pacific Islands, water has always been intertwined with the stories of life's beginning. These myths, while not scientifically accurate, contain the essence of an unspoken truth. Water is life's first memory. As the section progresses, the narrative gently weaves together science and mythology, asking whether the origins of life, whether viewed through the lens of molecules or myths, could both be pointing toward the same profound truth. Could water, as the first element of life, also carry the memory of its own creation? Is the memory of life written in the molecules of water, echoing across time? The section concludes by asking the listener to imagine a time when the oceans were the only witnesses to life's birth, to listen to the waves of creation still resounding through the oceans. What whispers might still linger in the deep, carried by the very water that brought us into existence. As we reflect on our origins, we are reminded of the profound, intimate relationship between water and the life that it cradled, a relationship that continues to this day, flowing through the currents of time. Water is a timeless scribe, writing Earth's history not in ink but in currents, sediments, and waves. This section explores how water has shaped the physical world, carrying within its flow the imprints of geological transformation. Rivers, oceans, and glaciers have all been agents of change, carving out the landscape and preserving the past beneath their surface. Water, constantly moving, is an archive of Earth's history, a history written not in words, but in the very movement of particles, the deposition of minerals, and the shaping of mountains. Water's ability to transport material across vast distances is highlighted. Rivers that begin as tiny trickles in the mountains carry rocks, silt, and organic matter to the sea, forming deltas that hold the story of ancient landscapes. The oceans, vast and deep, contain the bones of the earth, layers of sediment that stretch back millions of years. Water's currents act as conveyors of time, moving slowly but relentlessly, accumulating evidence of everything they touch. This section invites the listener to reflect on the quiet yet persistent power of water in shaping the earth. The sound of a river's flow becomes a metaphor for the gradual but unstoppable forces of change, how a single drop of water, over millennia, can carve a canyon. Yet the currents also serve as a keeper of secrets, hiding the fossils of extinct creatures, the traces of ancient civilizations, and the remnants of long-lost ecosystems beneath the surface. The concept of memory here is not just human memory, but the idea that the earth itself holds a kind of historical record, encoded in the movement of water. For every river that carves a valley, every ocean that shapes a coast, and every glacier that grinds its way through mountains, there is a story. Water has always been present in these stories, bearing witness to the forces that shaped our planet, and it continues to hold that story in its currents. In a meditative reflection, the listener is encouraged to imagine the ancient waters that have flowed for millions of years, and how each drop, each wave, each current might carry with it the memory of a time long past. The idea that water, by its very nature, can preserve the history of the earth invites a deep sense of awe. The past, it seems, is never truly lost, but remains encoded in the very movement of the water that flows through our lives. The section closes with the soft sound of flowing water, inviting the listener to drift deeper into contemplation, considering the countless stories hidden beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered by the patient currents of time. The tides rise and fall, a silent rhythm that has been playing for eons. This section reflects on the profound metaphor of water as a living, breathing entity and the tides as a kind of breath that carries with it the memory of time. The ocean's cycles, the ebb and flow, are not random. They are deeply connected to the forces of the earth and the moon, embodying a timeless dance. These tidal movements, echoing the in-breaths and out-breaths of life itself, offer a poetic lens through which to view memory. Just as breath holds the story of the body, the tide holds the story of the planet. In scientific terms, tides are driven by the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun, but this section invites a broader, more philosophical reflection. Could the rhythm of the ocean serve as a keeper of the Earth's history, carrying the pulse of life across the ages? Water's eternal cycle of rising and falling mirrors the cycles of nature, life, death, and rebirth. There is a quiet wisdom in the tides, an unspoken knowledge that remains constant even as everything around it changes. The tides are, in a sense, an ancient archive. They bring in new materials, sediments, nutrients, and creatures, and carry away the remnants of the past. This cyclical movement suggests that memory, too, is cyclical, not linear. Just as the ocean breathes in and exhales, the Earth's history is a constant ebb and flow of creation, destruction, and rebirth. The sea, in its vastness, holds within it a record of all that has come before, and the tides, in their rhythmic pulse, offer a space for reflection on that history. This section also considers the idea that the ocean's breath is a reflection of time itself. Time, like the ocean, is ever present, ever flowing, yet ever elusive. The tides never stop. They follow their own invisible clock, shaping the land and the creatures that live in its influence. Could this endless rhythm, the back and forth of the waves, carry with it the memories of the Earth's own lifeblood, the cycles that have shaped it? Is the ocean's breath more than just the movement of water? Is it the pulse of time? The section closes with the tranquil sound of waves washing ashore, urging the listener into a deeper state of reflection. The tides, with their soft whispers, offer a reminder that memory is not confined to the past. It is a living, breathing presence, carried within the ocean's pulse, waiting to be heard. Water's memory is not only preserved in the flow of oceans and rivers, but also in its frozen form. This section delves into how glaciers and ice hold the remnants of the Earth's history, offering a tangible record of past climates, atmospheric compositions, and even the lives of ancient organisms. Ice acts as a time capsule, capturing a snapshot of the world from thousands, even millions, of years ago. It is within these frozen layers that some of the oldest and most precious memories of our planet are stored. The journey begins by exploring how ice cores are extracted from glaciers, revealing a chronological record of Earth's atmosphere and climate. Each layer of ice holds tiny bubbles of air, preserving the composition of the atmosphere at the time it was formed. These microscopic time capsules give scientists a glimpse into the distant past, the chemical signatures of ancient air, the subtle variations in temperature, and even traces of human activity. It is as if the ice itself is holding its breath, storing the echoes of a long-forgotten age, waiting for us to discover them. This section reflects on the metaphor of ice as a frozen memory, capturing a moment in time that would otherwise be lost. The stillness of ice contrasts sharply with the flowing nature of water, yet in this stillness there is an incredible power, the power to preserve the most delicate and fleeting elements of life and history. The contrast between liquid and solid, movement and stasis, invites the listener to consider the many ways in which memory can be held, both in constant motion and in suspended animation. Beyond the scientific aspects, this section also draws on the symbolism of ice. Just as glaciers slowly carve through landscapes, erasing old paths and forming new ones, so too does time move slowly, shaping the world and all that inhabits it. Ice holds the past, but it is also a reminder that time, like water, is ever-moving, ever-changing. As glaciers retreat in the warming world, they release these ancient memories back into the water, a final act of letting go, as if the Earth itself is breathing out the history it has kept so still for so long. The section closes with the metaphor of melting ice, the slow release of memories into the world, inviting the listener to imagine the vast frozen landscapes where history is buried beneath layers of snow and ice. As these glaciers melt, they return those memories to the flowing water, the cycle of history continuing, a quiet reminder that the past is never truly lost. It is always waiting to resurface. The river, unlike the ocean or the glacier, is a living, breathing entity that connects the past with the present in a continuous flow. In this section, the river becomes a symbol of time itself, a constant, flowing thread that weaves through the landscape, carrying with it the stories of all that it has encountered. The river does not forget. It remembers everything it has touched, from the mountain streams where it begins to the vast sea where it ends. Rivers shape the land, create valleys, and nourish ecosystems, but they also carry with them a history of human interaction. As they move through forests, cities, and fields, rivers witness the changing world around them. They carry the debris of past civilizations, the remnants of ancient cities, and the traces of long-forgotten cultures. Water's flow, like time itself, is relentless. It erodes, it nurtures, it brings new life, and sweeps away the old. But it never stops, never ceases to flow forward. The section explores the river as a living memory, constantly in motion but always holding the past within its current. Water's journey through the landscape is also a journey through time, a reminder that everything we experience is part of a continuous cycle. The river holds the echoes of human history, from the first civilizations that arose along its banks to the modern world that still depends on its life-giving flow. The listener is invited to consider how rivers, in their quiet, unceasing motion, carry with them the weight of all that has come before, a living record, a song that has been sung by every drop of water that has ever passed through. At the same time, this section meditates on the fleeting nature of time. Rivers, like life, are constantly changing. The water flowing in the river today is not the same as it was yesterday, and yet, in its movement, it holds a memory of all that has come before. Each bend, each twist in the river's path is a moment of change, a reminder that time is never still. And yet, through its flow, we can trace the history of everything that has passed. The river's song is one of continuity, of movement, but also of memory, for though the water is constantly changing, the river itself remains a constant presence, holding the story of the land it traverses. The section closes with the soft sound of a river's current, a steady, calming rhythm that evokes a sense of peace and continuity. The river's flow is a quiet meditation on the passage of time, a reminder that we are all part of a larger current, one that has been flowing for millions of years, carrying with it the memories of all that has ever existed. Water reflects both literally and metaphorically, capturing not only the world around it, but also the essence of life itself. This section delves into the idea that water, in its stillness, holds a mirror to life, reflecting the natural world, the sky, the land, and the creatures that dwell within it. But beyond this simple reflection lies a deeper concept. Could water also reflect the memory of life, preserving the imprint of every organism that has ever lived? The reflective surface of still water, such as in a lake or a pond, serves as a metaphor for the way water mirrors the world around it. The listener is invited to imagine a quiet, glass-like pool of water holding the perfect reflection of trees, mountains, and skies. In this stillness, water becomes a canvas upon which the entire natural world is imprinted. But this reflection is more than just an image. It is a symbol of the deeper, hidden memories that water might carry. The surface reflects the present, but beneath it, in the depths of the water, lies the past, constantly shifting, yet eternally present. This section also explores the scientific idea that water's properties allow it to remember the biochemical and molecular traces left by life. When water interacts with living organisms, it may retain traces of their chemical signatures. This idea suggests that water, in its movement and stillness alike, could be storing the history of life's presence, from the smallest microorganisms to the largest mammals. These microscopic memories could be carried through the water's endless cycles, passing from ocean to river to lake, echoing the presence of life that has passed through it. There is also the possibility that water holds a more profound memory, one not simply based on chemical interactions, but rooted in the deep consciousness of the earth itself. Could the waters that have flowed across the earth since the dawn of life be carrying the impressions of every living thing that has ever existed? The concept of water as a bearer of memory invites the listener to reflect on the interconnectedness of all life. From the smallest drop to the vast oceans, each molecule of water has been touched by the pulse of life, and in its stillness, it may hold the collective memory of all that has lived and passed. The section concludes with the soft sound of water rippling across a reflective surface, urging the listener to consider the quiet wisdom held in water's stillness. Could this reflection be a form of memory? Could water, like the mind, reflect the vastness of life's history in its depths? Water has been a silent witness to the Earth's transformations, from the violent eruptions of volcanoes to the slow drift of continents. It has observed the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth of new species, and the extinction of others. This section reflects on water's unique role as an observer of change, its quiet presence standing in contrast to the dramatic forces shaping the world around it. Though water does not act or intervene, it is always present, watching, carrying within it the memory of all it has encountered. Water's role as a witness is explored through the lens of both natural and human history. The section considers how water has observed and recorded the slow processes of geological change, the erosion of mountains, the formation of river valleys, and the shifting of tectonic plates. Water, with its endless movement, serves as a constant companion to these transformations, carrying the debris of a changing world with it. Every rock it smooths, every grain of sand it moves, tells the story of the Earth's evolving surface. Water is not just a passive element. It is a keeper of time, a repository of memories formed in the slow, steady process of change. The section then shifts to consider water's role in human history. Rivers have been the lifeblood of ancient civilizations, and oceans have been the highways of exploration and discovery. Water has been there for every pivotal moment in our history, from the earliest settlements along riverbanks to the discovery of new worlds across the seas. Yet despite its centrality in our own story, water has always remained a quiet observer, unaffected by human ambitions and dreams. It has flowed through the ages, indifferent to the rise and fall of empires, but always carrying the imprint of those civilizations, their ruins, their art, their knowledge. There is something profoundly humbling in the thought that while humanity has come and gone, water has remained a constant, carrying the memory of our existence as if it were an afterthought. This section invites the listener to reflect on the fleeting nature of human history in comparison to the eternal, steady flow of water. While we may leave our mark on the world, water, in its timeless patience, remembers everything. From the first human footprints along riverbanks to the forgotten cities buried beneath the waves, water has always been there, watching, preserving. The section concludes with the soft sound of waves gently lapping against the shore, evoking a sense of serenity and reflection. Water, the eternal witness, continues its journey, carrying with it the stories of all that has passed, ever present, ever watchful. Beneath the surface of every body of water, there are echoes of voices long forgotten. This section delves into the concept of water as a vessel for the voices of the past, not just in a metaphorical sense, but in a literal way. The echoes of ancient sounds, from the cries of prehistoric creatures to the whispers of lost civilizations, may be imprinted in the molecules of water, reverberating across time. As water moves through the earth, it carries with it the sounds of history, waiting to be uncovered by those who listen closely. The idea of sound as a form of memory is explored, particularly in how water can carry vibrations through its molecules. Just as sound waves travel through air, water has the capacity to carry the echoes of voices, footsteps, and natural events over long distances. Could the sound of an ancient storm, the roar of a mammoth, or the murmurs of early human settlements still linger in the deep waters, preserved in the undulating waves? Water's unique ability to transmit sound over great distances, from the depths of the ocean to the surface of a quiet pond, invites the listener to imagine what ancient sounds might still echo through the currents. This section also reflects on how water, through its constant movement, carries with it the memory of human voices. Rivers have long been the carriers of stories and songs, from ancient myths passed down through generations to the voices of explorers charting new territories. In a poetic sense, the very act of water flowing is an act of carrying stories, not just of people, but of all life. It is as if the water itself hums with the memory of every being that has ever lived, carrying within its currents the traces of their presence. Water as a vessel of forgotten voices ties into a broader theme, the idea that history is never truly lost, but rather buried, waiting to resurface. The echoes of the past may be faint, but they are always there, carried by the water. In this way, water becomes a kind of time machine, a bridge between eras, allowing the past to be felt and heard, even if only in fleeting moments. The section concludes with the sound of water rippling softly, as if carrying these ancient echoes back to the listener. The quiet hum of water invites reflection on the sounds of the past, urging the listener to consider what might still be waiting beneath the surface, what voices, what memories, what stories might still be carried in the deep, waiting to be heard once more. The true memory of water lies in its depths, an unexplored, mysterious world where history is preserved in layers, hidden from view. This section takes the listener to the dark, silent realms of the ocean's depths and the deep lakes where time moves differently and memory is stored in quiet stillness. Beneath the surface, water holds secrets that are inaccessible to the human eye, yet they are a part of the Earth's ongoing story. The deep waters are the final frontier of Earth's memory, where the traces of ancient life, lost civilizations, and geological events remain undisturbed. The section begins with a meditation on the vastness of the deep ocean. Covering over 70% of the planet's surface, the ocean is the largest repository of water, and within its depths, the past is preserved in ways we can scarcely comprehend. Submerged cities, fossilized creatures, and ancient ecosystems rest in the silence of the deep, untouched by time's usual processes. Here, water acts as a guardian of forgotten memories, holding them in stasis, shielded from the ravages of time and decay. Scientific exploration of the deep ocean is mentioned, with the recognition that much of this vast, mysterious world remains unseen by human eyes. The pressure at great depths prevents us from fully accessing this archive, and yet, through exploration and technological advancements, we are beginning to uncover the secrets that lie beneath. The deep waters, in this sense, are a literal and metaphorical reflection of water's ability to preserve what is hidden, the stories of life frozen in time and waiting to be revealed. The deep also represents the idea of memory itself, a vast, complex system of experiences and moments that are buried beneath the surface of our daily consciousness. Just as the ocean holds secrets beneath its waves, so too does our own psyche hold memories beneath the surface of awareness. This section connects the deep waters with the subconscious, suggesting that, like the ocean, the memories stored in water are infinite, ever-present, and in some ways unreachable. There is a quiet beauty in this idea, that history, like the ocean's depths, holds everything, both known and unknown, within it. The section closes with the soft, distant sound of ocean waves crashing on a remote shore, invoking the mysterious allure of the deep waters. Water is a master of transformation. It has the ability to shape, dissolve, and renew. This section delves into the alchemical nature of water, exploring how it acts as a transformative force in the cycle of life and death. Through the changing states of matter, from liquid to solid to gas, water is a symbol of time itself, constantly shifting and adapting. As water flows through the earth, it transforms landscapes, creates new ecosystems, and erases the traces of the past, all while holding the memory of everything it has touched. The section begins by exploring the transformative power of water in the natural world. Rivers carve through mountains, glaciers shape valleys, and rainfall nourishes new life. Water, in its many forms, is the agent of change, creating and destroying in a perpetual cycle. Just as a river carves its way through rock, so too does time shape the world around us, sometimes gently, sometimes with overwhelming force. Water's transformative power invites the listener to reflect on the process of change itself, how it can seem both destructive and life-giving at the same time. Water's alchemy also ties into the concept of memory. As water passes through time, it is constantly changing, yet it retains the memory of all it has encountered. Each change in state, from liquid to ice to vapor, represents a shift in perception, a way of holding onto the past while moving forward. Water's ability to adapt to different forms mirrors the way that memory itself shifts and transforms over time, with some moments frozen in stillness, others evaporating into the mist of forgetfulness. This section also touches on the spiritual or philosophical aspect of water's alchemy. In many cultures, water is seen as a purifier, capable of transforming not just the physical world but the spirit as well. The idea that water can cleanse, renew, and transform connects to the broader theme of memory and history. Water does not simply store the past. It allows for rebirth and renewal, a fresh start, an opportunity to begin again. Just as a river may wash away the old and carry forward the new, so too does memory allow us to transform our understanding of the past, integrating it into the present. The section concludes with the soft sound of water flowing over stones, a symbolic reminder of how time flows and transforms, shaping everything it touches. Water's alchemy teaches us that change is inevitable, yet it also holds the potential for renewal and growth, a reminder that in every transformation, there is a chance to carry the past forward into a new form. Memory, like water, is not static. It is fluid, shifting, and layered over time. In this section, Water's role in preserving and passing on the layers of memory is explored through the concept of sedimentation. Just as a river carries soil and particles from the land, depositing them along its path, so too does time accumulate layers of history, each one building on the one before it, each one a reflection of what has come and gone. Water, in its flow, creates and carries these layers, offering a map of the past that can only be read by those who pause long enough to listen. The section begins with a meditation on how sedimentary layers form in bodies of water. Rivers, lakes, and oceans collect the dust, sand, and organic matter carried by the land. These particles slowly settle and accumulate, creating a record of time in the form of layers. Each layer of sediment holds a different moment in history, from the rise of ancient civilizations to the shifting of climates. By studying these layers, scientists can read the story of the Earth just as a historian reads the pages of a forgotten book. Water, in its quiet movement, is the archivist of the planet's past, and the sediment it carries is a record of everything it has encountered. The concept of sedimentation is also tied to the emotional and psychological aspects of memory. Just as the Earth accumulates layers of sediment, so too do we accumulate layers of experiences and emotions. These layers are not always clear or easily accessible. Sometimes they are buried deep beneath the surface, waiting for the right conditions to be uncovered. Water, with its constant flow, is a reminder that memory is never fixed. It is always shifting, changing, and accumulating. The sediment that settles in water is like the memories that settle within us, each one adding to the rich complexity of our personal and collective histories. This section also explores the idea of erosion, the slow wearing away of the past. Just as water wears down rocks and reshapes the land, so too does time erode memories, sometimes obscuring them, sometimes altering their form. Yet even as memories fade or shift, they are never completely lost. They remain in the layers, waiting to be uncovered, just as ancient fossils and artifacts are revealed when layers of earth are eroded by wind or water. The section concludes with the sound of water gently moving over the ground, carrying with it the sediment of the past. It is a quiet, continuous flow, a reminder that history, like water, is ever present, constantly moving, and ever shaping the world in ways we may not always see. Water is both a symbol and a reality of life's continuous cycle. In this section, we explore how water shapes not only the past, but also the future of the planet. As Earth's most essential element, water plays a central role in the sustainability of life, influencing everything from climate change to the survival of ecosystems. This section examines the delicate balance between humanity's use of water and the planet's ability to renew it, and reflects on the future of water in the face of growing environmental challenges. Water's enduring cycle, ever-changing yet constant, offers a poignant metaphor for the resilience of life itself. The section begins by highlighting water's central role in the future of the planet. As the climate shifts and human populations grow, water becomes increasingly critical to sustaining life. Rivers, lakes, and oceans are vital sources of fresh water, and yet the supply of clean, accessible water is under threat. Pollution, overconsumption, and changing weather patterns are altering the natural cycles of water. This brings an urgent need for conservation, reminding us that the health of the planet is inextricably tied to the health of its waters. Water's future is also deeply connected to the broader ecological balance. From the tiniest microorganisms in a drop of water to the vast ecosystems of the ocean, water sustains all life forms. This section explores how the preservation of water is essential not just for human survival, but for the survival of countless species with whom we share the earth. Water is the lifeblood of biodiversity. As it changes, so too do the creatures that depend on it. From coral reefs to wetlands, the delicate balance of life relies on the health and stability of water. The challenge of ensuring clean water for all living beings is one of the defining concerns of the coming century. The idea of water's endless cycle is emphasized, how water is constantly moving through the atmosphere, the oceans, and the earth itself in a continuous loop. It evaporates, condenses, rains, and returns to the ocean, where it starts the cycle again. This eternal cycle offers both comfort and challenge. the reminder that nature is resilient, yet fragile. It reminds us that even as water goes through periods of drought and abundance, the cycle will continue. The Earth's waters are constantly evolving, yet there is an enduring wisdom in their repetition. This cycle, when balanced, sustains life, but when disrupted, it can lead to devastating consequences. The section also touches on the philosophical implications of water's future. If water is the source of all life, then it holds a deep responsibility in the human story. The future of water is in our hands. We are both stewards and consumers of this precious resource. How we treat water today will determine the world we leave for future generations. This section invites the listener to reflect on their own role in the preservation of water and, by extension, the preservation of life itself. In honoring the flow of water, we honor the flow of life. The section concludes with the sound of a gentle rain, representing both the promise of renewal and the potential for change. Water, ever present, ever renewing, moves in cycles, and as it flows, it carries the promise of the future. Life continues as it always has, and water remains the silent, enduring force that sustains it all. Water has always been a silent witness to the unfolding of history. From the rise and fall of civilizations to the quiet passing of seasons, water has observed it all. This section reflects on the idea that water, in its vastness and stillness, holds the record of every moment in time, a silent witness to the ebb and flow of life across centuries and millennia. While human memory may falter, water remembers. It is the ultimate keeper of time, preserving the stories of the earth long after they have faded from human recollection. The section begins with a meditation on water's timeless nature. Unlike human history, which is often written and recorded in fleeting moments, water has existed in its various forms for billions of years, cycling through the Earth's systems in an endless loop. As such, water has been present through all of Earth's significant moments: the formation of continents, the rise of life, the sweeping of ancient seas. Water is a living record of these events, carrying the imprint of every change, every shift, every breath of life that has ever existed on this planet. This section explores the idea of water as a keeper of stories. It is in the flowing rivers that the stories of ancient civilizations are carried, in the oceans that the bones of the past lie forgotten, and in the deep lakes that the echoes of extinct species are preserved. Every drop of water is, in a sense, a memory, holding the traces of what has come before. As time passes, the water flows, taking with it the memories of what has been, but never truly losing them. Like a river that carves through rock, the passage of time leaves its marks on water, transforming it, but never erasing the past. Water's role as a silent witness also highlights its relationship to change. It moves, flows, and adapts to the conditions of the moment, yet it never forgets where it has been. This dual nature of water, its capacity for movement and its capacity for memory, invites reflection on how we, as humans, experience the flow of time. Just as water changes its form and location, we too experience time in a constant state of flux. But like water, we also carry the past with us, shaping our present and future with the memories of all that has come before. This section also contemplates the idea that while humanity may record its history in books and monuments, water remains the true custodian of all time. It has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the slow erosion of mountains, and the quiet shift of seasons. Water holds the stories we cannot see, the invisible histories that shape the world in ways we may never fully understand. The section concludes with the sound of gentle rain falling in a secluded forest, the soft patter echoing through the trees. It is a reminder that water, in its stillness, is always present, quietly bearing witness to the passage of time. Its presence may be subtle, but it is always there, observing, remembering, and waiting to share the stories of the earth with those who are willing to listen. Water, in its eternal cycle, reminds us that nothing truly disappears. It changes, it flows, it evaporates, and then it returns. This section explores the concept of cycles, of life, time, and memory, as mirrored in the journey of water. From the smallest droplets to the largest oceans, water's return is a constant, unbroken thread that connects all living things. Through the water cycle, life itself finds renewal, as water continually reinvents itself, offering the promise of rebirth. The eternal flow of water is both a metaphor for the infinite cycles of existence and a profound reality, offering a quiet comfort in its ceaseless, unchanging rhythm. The section begins with a reflection on the water cycle, the process of evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection, as the most fundamental, ever-present cycle on Earth. Water's constant movement through the atmosphere, oceans, and land symbolizes the cyclical nature of life itself. Like time, water flows in an unbroken loop, sometimes slow, sometimes swift, but always continuing. No matter how long it takes, water always returns to the place from which it came. It is a symbol of continuity, of the persistence of life through endless transformations. This concept of return also highlights the broader theme of resurrection and renewal. In the same way that water evaporates into the sky only to return as rain, life continually moves through cycles of birth, death, and rebirth. Seasons change, generations pass, but the water remains, connecting them all. Water's return is a reminder that even when things appear to be lost or forgotten, they are only in transition, awaiting their return in a new form. This sense of cyclical renewal offers a peaceful reflection on the nature of existence. Everything comes full circle. The section also explores the notion that all living beings are a part of this cycle. Just as the water cycle connects oceans, rivers, and clouds, so too do all living things participate in the greater flow of existence. Water nourishes life, sustains it, and then, after its use, it returns to the earth to be transformed again. This cycle serves as a metaphor for the interconnectedness of all things. Every drop of water that touches the earth has been part of countless other cycles, from ancient rainstorms to distant clouds, from the tears of one generation to the oceans of another. In a more philosophical sense, this cycle of return also calls attention to the impermanence of life. While we may pass from this world, we are part of an eternal flow. Our physical forms may change, but like water, we return in new ways, in new forms, connecting us to the past, present, and future. Water's return is a comforting idea that everything is part of a greater, ongoing journey, and nothing truly ends. The section closes with the sound of a distant river flowing gently toward the ocean. It is a soft, rhythmic sound, evoking the sense that life, like water, moves continuously forward, and yet, in its movement, it is always returning to the place from which it began. In this final section, we come full circle, reflecting on the profound legacy of water, a force that has shaped the earth and life itself from the birth of the planet to the present moment. As the closing chapter of this journey, it invites us to consider our relationship with water, not as a distant element, but as a constant companion, sustaining us, shaping us, and connecting us to everything around us. Water's song is both an invitation and a reminder to listen, to reflect, and to honor the living world that continues to flow with us. Through the lens of water, we see not just the Earth's history, but the interwoven stories of all life, past and future. Water is not merely a substance, it is the very rhythm of existence. The section begins by revisiting the concept of water as a living entity, a force of nature that has endured throughout time, shaping and sustaining life across eons. The oceans, vast and deep, echo the continuity of the planet itself, holding within them the collective memory of all life that has ever existed. The song of the ocean is a song of eternity, a melody composed of countless waves and tides, each one unique, yet part of the same symphony. In the sound of the waves, we hear the heartbeat of the earth, a constant rhythm that speaks of life, death, and renewal. This section reflects on the many ways that water has influenced human history, culture, and spirituality. From sacred rivers to healing springs, from the oceans that carried explorers to the shores that nurtured civilizations, water has been central to human existence. It has been revered, feared, and studied, but always respected. Water is more than a resource. It is a lifeline that connects us to the world, to one another, and to the future. Our relationship with water and our understanding of its importance defines our legacy as stewards of the earth. As the final section of the documentary, It explores the deep spiritual and philosophical questions surrounding water. If water is life, then it is also the link between the material and the spiritual, between the known and the unknown. Water's mysteries, its depths, its purity, its ability to carry memory and history, invite us to consider our place in the universe. Water's song is not just one of survival, but of connection to the earth, to the cosmos, and to the timeless flow of existence. The section invites the listener to reflect on their own life, their own place in the great cycle of water, and the legacy they will leave behind. The section closes with the sound of waves fading into the distance, leaving behind a quiet stillness, a peaceful conclusion to the journey. The listener is invited to imagine themselves standing by the shore, listening to the eternal song of the ocean, a song that will continue long after we are gone, carrying the memory of all who have lived and all who will follow.